Hello and welcome to the Daily Dose, short stories that matter. This week on the Daily Dose, we'll share some of Jesus' parables and talk about what they meant when they were written and what they mean for us today. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus told many stories called parables. I heard it said one way that they are true stories, they just didn't happen. True stories just didn't happen. In 3 of the Gospels, we hear 2 similar stories by Jesus named new cloth on an old coat and new wine in old wineskins. Here is Luke 5:36 through 39. Jesus told them this parable. No one tears a piece out of a new garment to patch an old one. Otherwise, they will have torn the new garment, and the patch from the new will not match the old. And no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the new wine will burst the skins. The wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, new wine must be poured into new wineskins. And no one after drinking old wine wants the new, for they say the old is better. It never fails. Once in a while, I'll get a brand new shirt and I'll be so excited to wear it. And so I quick wash it with some other clothes and then miss it and throw it into the dryer with the rest of the load. Lo and behold, that shirt is no longer one that I can wear. It shrunk and now it doesn't fit me. This is the vibe I'm getting from the parable. An old coat has been washed and shrunk, and so Jesus is saying you wouldn't put a new patch on an old coat because what happens when you wash it? That patch shrinks and then it falls off the coat. The second story is similar. When wine ferments, it gives off gases that stretch the wineskins. The fresh leather can stretch and expand, but the old leather has already stretched as much as it possibly can. So putting new wine in old wineskins would burst that old leather. What Jesus is telling his disciples is that Israel would not be able to handle Jesus. Israel was the old cloth or old wineskin, and Jesus, the new message. He needed new ways, new methods, new rules, new laws to carry out his message to the world, new people. God would use us, the church, to accomplish that goal, not Israel. Funny thing is that many times I am perceived to be the new wine as I lead a band and in worship, and then other times as I talk to kids, I'm the old wineskin that can't handle the new wine because I've already stretched as far as I can go. I always like to tell the story about prepping for Easter last year, and I was listening to music as I drove my kids somewhere. The first song that played was a disaster. It sounded like a mix of kids bop and techno music. I was like, this is the worst. And yet, my kids were in the back seat, tapping their knees, bopping their heads. My daughter even asked me, "What is this song?" in an excited voice. It's true, I couldn't handle it. And so I don't think that new wine is modern worship and old wineskin is traditional. I don't think that in the least. And here's why. I think that our beliefs are what count. I don't think it was Jesus' music preference or the way he prayed was what caused them to plot his arrest and murder. I think it had to do with their beliefs, with his heart. I think it was with his challenge to the culture and to the abuse of the poor and the outcast. And I think when it comes to flavor of worship, I love it all. Whether I'm playing organ or singing in a choir or playing guitar or drums, my heart is for God. And the point I always like to make when I talk about that Easter song is that it's not about me. It's never been about me. It's about my kids and your neighbor kids and your grandkids. If the organ is going to help someone develop or deepen their relationship with Christ, I'm all in. If it's a song that you hear on the radio that connects with your grandkid, I'm all in, baby. I think that where it starts to get a little complicated is when we start to view everything from a standpoint of the church is here to serve me, versus I am the church, and it is my job to help lead all people to a lifelong faith in Jesus. You see how I could not force our mission on someone who is only there for themselves. Just like Jesus couldn't preach that message to Israel because it got him challenged, arrested, and killed. New wine, old wineskin. Lastly, I don't think it is too late for anyone. I have had so many beliefs that were old coats turned into new ones. I think that's what God can do. I think that growth is the number one reason for our lives. It says in 2 Corinthians 5 that if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here. God does that for us all. We can become new wine and new coats and have new ideas and fail and try again and again and again. Why? Because God says so. Each year that I circle the sun, I get to know more people and more stories. People I meet at church, friends opening up in new ways, finding out something new about my wife, a stranger in passing. They all have stories just like you do and just like I do. And I think that we can learn so much about these short stories, these parables from thousands of years ago. But isn't it also true that God continues to tell stories through our lives? As we continue to dive into short stories that matter this week, know that your story is weaved into that too, and so are the people around you. Because let's face it, God is not done yet, and stories matter. Thanks for joining us today. God bless.